Doctor Who Season 1's 4th episode is set to be its most mysterious yet. With so many different elements at play, what exactly can we look forward to in 73 Yards? Well, usually I'd say we can look forward to seeing more of Ncuti Gatwa as the 15th Doctor, but this week he's not going to be on screen very much at all. But that is exciting in itself because it means we're in for another Doctor Light episode, akin to Turn Left or Love and Monsters or Blink. These stories where the Doctor is basically absent, he maybe appears at the very start or the very end or kind of halfway through just for a couple of minutes. And these stories are always very interesting because they're so different and because they focus so much on other characters or the companion. And taking the Doctor out of the equation allows the show's writers to reflect upon the role the Doctor plays in the story world of Doctor Who, which is in turn obviously a metaphor for, the role the show plays for its viewers and for its fans and in the wider world. It's something that's very much at the forefront of Love and Monsters, which is basically a story about Doctor Who and Doctor Who fans and fandom more generally, and also in Turn Left, where the Doctor literally dies and the world is without the Doctor, and everything falls into disrepair and there's chaos and the world is literally unprotected. And again, it kind of becomes this sort of rally cry for what the Doctor is and what they represent and how important they are, both in the Doctor Who story world and also in our own world. It's going to be the first full-on Doctor Light story, I believe, since Turn Left, so that is incredibly exciting, and incredibly exciting to have Russell writing as well, because he basically invented this format. Someone we will be seeing a lot of this week, and probably more so than we have seen so far, is Millie Gibson as Ruby Sunday, our new companion, our latest companion. Now, like I say, Doctor Light stories always allow the companion to really come to the fore, and the actor playing the companion as well to have a proper kind of showcase. Having had a showcase of Ncuti Gatwa last week with Boom, now it's Millie's time to shine and to show us what she's made of. She is basically going to be the sole protagonist here, trying to solve this mystery of what's happened to the Doctor and what's going on more generally, all by herself. And the reviews so far from the press and from pre-reviewers have really emphasised kind of what a showcase this is for Millie and how good she is, and the range of material, the range of emotions she has to go through. It's going to be a very Millie-heavy story, a very Ruby-heavy story, and what's even more remarkable about that is the fact that 73 Yards was part of the first filming block for Season 1. So this is one of the first things that Millie Gibson shot for Doctor Who, coming straight off Coronation Street, and obviously Ncuti Gatwa was still filming Sex Education by this point, so that kind of explains logistically as well why they might shoot an episode like this early on. I'm sure it's going to be a very emotional journey, but also a very rewarding bit of television. Now, one of the other big headlines about this story is the fact that it will be delving into Welsh folk horror and folklore and horror more generally. This is something that Russell has spoken about, how we kind of open on the cliff tops with the Doctor and Ruby there, arriving in the TARDIS between the land and sea. And they discover this little circle made up of trinkets and string, kind of keeping the balance of something in place, it would seem, in terms of mythical stuff and legend. They unknowingly disturb that balance, the Doctor disappears, and then we kind of launched into this mystery, and it's not clear what's going on, and it's been suggested that by the end of the episode as well, we might still be none the wiser as to how some of this stuff is happening, because it's part of this broader kind of turn the show is taking into mythical territory. We've seen it with the Toymaker, we've seen it with Maestro, now this is a kind of different flavour of folklore. I'm very intrigued to see what it all means. I do hope there are still answers about some of this stuff and it's still kind of satisfying. But yes, nevertheless, this whole vibe looks very, very kind of up my street, like the whole thing with this kind of countryside, rural setting, the folk horror, the village pub, and these kind of characters inside as well, and the kind of the claustrophobia of that, and that kind of horror film vibe. It does feel like new territory for Doctor Who, and that's very exciting. Linked into this is the whole mystery of this mysterious, strange woman who seems to be stalking Ruby and following her, watching her from afar, presumably watching her from 73 yards away. She's actually one of the first things we saw at Season 1 filming, because this episode was shot so early on, and even then there was speculation about who she was. She's wearing this kind of black outfit, she's got silvery long hair, she has these strange markings on her face, she's always doing these strange gestures, and we now know that she's following Ruby as well. She's somehow linked to her and the broader kind of mythological stuff going on. Some of the reviewers have mentioned too how apparently when other characters go up to her, they immediately run away screaming because of something she's said. So there's a real mystery to this woman, both on screen and off. The actor actually playing her is Hilary Hobson, apparently, who doesn't have any other credits online. There are no photos of her, there's nothing else apart from this, which, yeah, it's kind of interesting in itself and mysterious in itself. Who is this woman? What is the twist here? There's got to be something going on. We know it's not Susan Twist because she's playing someone else in the story, who I'll get to. But yes, what significance does she have? What is her true identity or her true purpose? I'm very, very intrigued to find out. The title of this story is also part of this mystery, 73 Yards. It's one of those titles that, when I first saw it, I kind of thought, hang on a minute, what is this about? This sounds very, very strange and like very, weirdly specific. Like, why 73? Why not 72 or 74? What is the significance of 73 yards? We do at least know one of the ways it's going to manifest itself in this story, because it is this distance between Ruby and this mysterious figure, but it still doesn't answer the question of why 73, why 73 yards? Why yards and not meters or whatever else, another unit of measurement? It's clearly a very important part of the story because it is literally what it's named after, so I get the feeling there's definitely going to be some other twist, some other hidden significance that we don't know about yet. If you have any theories of your own, be sure to drop them below. This story gets weirder and weirder because as well as all this folklore stuff going on, as well as all this horror vibe, we also have politics thrown in there as well, like contemporary politics, a contemporary politician, albeit a fictional one, obviously. This is the mysterious Roger ap Gwilliam, played by the Welsh actor Aneurin Barnard, who again was one of the first people we kind of learnt about in relation to the series. He seems to be associated with a fictional political party named Albion, an old word for England. And we saw various stuff to do with him and this party at filming, like a whole building that was decked out in propaganda and posters and stuff. I get the feeling this is going to be a very sharp political critique, particularly relating to the current political situation and the times that we live in. Russell has, in the interim between leaving Doctor Who and coming back, written stuff like Years and Years, which very much lent into that, the kind of whole populism angle. I'm so intrigued to see that in itself, but also to see how it fits into the whole folk horror thing, because at the moment these two strands seem very, very separate from one another. I can't work out how they're going to come together. I'm sure they will do in some unexpected way, but that's the beauty of this. It is so intriguing and so captivating. In terms of other unexpected elements, we also have a couple of returning characters who haven't been officially announced in the cast list or anything, presumably to preserve the mystery and to kind of lead viewers into thinking the whole story is going to be based around the folk horror thing, and to therefore preserve the surprise of this kind of political slant. But yes, Gemma Redgrave will be returning to the show as Kate Lethbridge-Stewart for the first time since The Giggle last year. Her casting was announced at the same time as Aneurin Barnard's, and we saw her at filming interacting with Ruby and some unit soldiers on set. Ruby's mother Carla was also on set at the same time as this mysterious woman played by Hilary Hobson, so she's expected to reappear as well. Maybe Mrs. Flood as well, who knows? Given that we're dealing with a Doctorless world and a Doctor-Light scenario, I wonder whether Kate is going to play a similar role to Captain Arisa Magambo in Turn Left, again another member of UNIT, who's kind of there as a guiding hand for Donna, kind of showing her what she had to do to bring the Doctor back to the world. Either way, it'll be nice to see more of Ruby's family and to see her interact with UNIT for the first time as she kind of learns a bit more about the Doctor. In terms of other new cast members, we have various Welsh actors appearing in this alongside Aneurin Barnard, and I believe most of these people will be appearing as both the staff and patrons of this pub that Ruby finds herself in. So we have the legendary Dame Sian Phillips appearing as wise woman Enid Meadows, as someone who seems to know a bit more about this folklore and the stuff that's going on. We have Maxine Evans playing Lowry Palin, who I believe is like the landlady or something. Now, what is very funny about her is that she's also been in the Whoniverse once before in Torchwood in the episode Countryside, and what in turn is even more funny about that is that that story was shot in the same pub that this story has been shot in. So, yeah, lots of stuff going on there. We have Hilary Hobson as the woman, Simon Pritchard as Joshua Steele, Gwyn Morris-Jones as Ifa Jones, Ellen Davis as Thin Lucy, and Glyn Pritchard as Eddie Jones. The Hot Off the Press Doctor Who magazine episode preview has also confirmed that Sophie Ablett and Miles Ukini will both be appearing in the story as well, two actors who were previously announced to be appearing in the series. So yes, the plot thickens. Lots of characters there, lots more stuff going on. I think the one that intrigues me the most is Thin Lucy. Why is she Thin Lucy and not just Lucy? Who knows? There's one name there I skated over, and that is of course Susan Twist, making another appearance in Doctor Who Season 1, as she did in Boom, The Devil's Cord, Space Babies, The Church on Ruby Road, and Wild Blue Yonder. I'm doing weekly videos speculating about who Susan Twist's character is and what's going on there, and just generally kind of keeping up with that mystery, so do make sure you go and check those out if you haven't already. But yes, in terms of 73 Yards, Susan Twist will be appearing as a hiker, which suggests to me that she'll literally be there on the cliff tops, with her backpack and everything, maybe asking Ruby for directions. Or she might come into the pub and ask the same thing, or have a meal, or stay the night or something. With so much else going on in this story, I'm not particularly expecting any significant developments to the Susan Twist mystery, but nevertheless, it's always great to see her, always very, very intriguing, and each appearance brings us closer to this inevitable reveal of who she is and what she's up to. And the last reason to look forward to 73 Yards is that Russell T Davies said in an interview about a year ago that it's one of the greatest things he's ever made in his life. Now obviously your mileage will vary on that depending on how much you like Russell's writing, and even then it's going to be a very out there episode, so it'll be interesting to see how fans respond. But yes, I think it bodes well. Russell does like to hype things up an awful lot, but the fact that he kind of singled this episode out in particular like a year ago, like many, many months before the series even came to television, leads me to believe that it will be something pretty special. What are you looking forward to in 73 Yards? Be sure to let me know all of your thoughts and theories in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, please do leave a like, and subscribe to the channel if you're new for more stuff like this in the future. But otherwise, until the next one, thank you so much for watching, and goodbye for now.